In this section, I'm going to show you how you can set up a template for the ePortfolios for your students using Google Sites. So I'm here in Google Drive, and my first thing I'm going to do is set up a folder for my ePortfolio to live in. So I'm going to click on New and Folder, and I'm just going to call this ePortfolio, and then press Create, and voila, I have a folder for my ePortfolio to live in. I'm going to go ahead and open up that folder, and now what I'm going to do is click on New, and we want to look for Google Sites. And so it's not on the main list, so I'm going to hover over More, and then go to the secondary list and press Google Sites. Wait for it to load the goodness that is Google Sites. And once it loads, it's going to give us the standard template that it starts with. And of course, at the bottom, it now gives me an alert to say you can visit a template gallery to get some ideas. But we're going to build this from scratch based on a few conversations that I've had with some teachers using Google Sites already with ePortfolios. So our first step here is we're going to give this page a title. So remember, this is for your students that you're going to give them this template. So I'm going to kind of double click on the text here, and it gives me a bunch of options across the top, but I'm going to go ahead and highlight it. And I'm going to write your name, and this is the prompt that you're going to give the students to type in their name where your name is. Press enter, and right now it gives me a left align, but I like to keep everything center. And I'm going to call this your learning journey. Okay. And right now we've just simply created a title. Now we actually have to name this ePortfolio. So right here where it says Untitled Site, I'm going to go and click that. And I'm going to type in last name, because you're going to prompt the students to type in their last name first. And then I'm just going to put ePortfolio after that. And when I click off that, you're going to notice something right here where it says enter site name. When I click that, it's actually going to take what I just did at the top and put it here for you automatically. And of course, you can prompt the students if they really wanted to, if they have their own personal logo and brand and all this crazy stuff. They can add a logo there, but we're not going to do that. So now what we're going to do is we want to think about how we're going to structure this Google site out to make it as easy as possible for them to upload artifacts. The simplest way is to use the layouts that are already over here. So I'm going to use that in combination with some headers here to keep everything on one page. So if you have 11 total units throughout the school year, you might just have 11 different headers and then places for them to add content. And when we build this out, you're going to realize that's going to be really long and a lot of scrolling. And so in the second part of this video, I'm actually going to show you how you can use pages to then kind of help with some of the organization. So what I'm going to do first here is I'm going to create my first header. So I'm going to double click, and it gives me this little circle here, and I'm looking for the text in the middle. So it gives me a nice little text box, and I can call this Unit 1. And I have a bunch of options across the top here, so I'm going to click on Normal Text and call this Heading. And it changes the font. And of course, if you don't like the font, you can click on Fonts, and you can see you have a whole lot to select from. But for the sake of this, I'm not going to play with that, but you can play with it. You can also download Google Fonts now, which is super fun. You can also change the size. There's bold, italicized, underline, change the text color, and some other features here. When you click on the three dots, it always gives you more options there. But what I'm going to do now that I have my header line here is I'm going to change the color of this section to make these headers stand out. So I have this little color palette over to the left. I'm going to click that, and I'm going to use Style 3. So Style 3 is a color that's already preset in the template. And now I have this space for Unit 1. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to focus on layouts, and maybe I have several artifacts I want the students to upload for Unit 1. What I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to use this box here that has a graphic here with some text next to it. And you might say, hey, I have 2 different artifacts I want them to submit, or 3 or 4. What I believe this layout does once I click on it and you see it, it's going to give students an opportunity to upload an artifact here with the plus button. And when they click on plus, they have the ability to upload. So they can upload a picture into this, or they can select an image from their drive. They can select a Google Doc or a Google slideshow from their drive, or if you've done some different video reflections and those videos live on YouTube or they live in Drive, they can add a video here as well. Now, if students are having trouble uploading to this, it might be a file format that's not accepted, especially if they have a picture from their phone and it's that .heic format. And then if that's the case, there'll be some resources in this learning course about how to convert pictures from HEIC to JPEG to be able to upload. So what we have here is the kids have the ability to upload. They're going to give this a title, so it might be the name of the project. So I'm just going to type that in my template so students know to type in the name of the project there. And then in the text box underneath, we want them to add a reflection. So add your reflection here. And then if I click off it, I now have a starter place for them to upload in one artifact. Once again, maybe there's a couple artifacts. I can go back to layout and click add here. Or since I already like this layout right here that I already did with the text in here, I can press the duplicate button. So it's underneath of the little color selector here, right in the middle. If I click duplicate section, it's going to give me all of the same features that I just already configured now in a new section. So say I like this, this is great, and now I want to keep going with this process. So I'm going to start with Unit 2. So I'm going to find this little white space under here. I can double click and then click text. I can do Unit 2. Once again, I'm changing normal text to heading. I'm going to click on the little color selector here, keep the same style, 3. And then again, what I'm gonna do is I like this layout here again. I'm gonna press duplicate up here, and you notice that it's not in the right place. There's a series of these. I think there's 10 dots right here, and it should bring up this this little selector that's arrows going in opposite directions. If I click and hold, right now I'm clicking and holding, you can see I started moving that. I can slide that down underneath of Unit 2. And then repeat the process as I am building. So this is just one strategy if I want to have all my units on one single page. But what now I'm going to do is I'm going to show you an alternate way of doing this using pages. So I'm going to go back up. I'm actually going to recreate this Google site here. So I'm going to click on New, More, and then Google Sites. And once again, I have this, it's going to give me the standard template. And once it loads here, I'm going to do your name. Uh-oh, press enter and it did something. Oh, because it gave me the template. Okay, so I'm working a little too fast here, but that's okay. I'll call this your learning journey. My keyboard's acting really weird this morning. That's okay. Okay, and then I'm going to call this, this is last name at the top, ePortfolio. Press enter, and voila, I got my standard starting point. So now, instead of doing Unit 1 straight down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to Pages, so it's underneath of Publish, and now I'm going to build out each page with different units. So I click on this little plus button, it kind of does a little spinny thing, and click on New Page. I'm going to call this Unit 1. And we're going to do one unit at a time because once we get this set, then we can duplicate the pages, which is really nice. So I have Unit 1 here, and I have white space, so I'm going to go back up to Inserts, and I'm going to find my same layout option because I really like that. Gives us a nice little window for kids to upload. And then now I'm going to do, in the title here, I'm going to call this project name. And I'm going to do add your reflection here. And of course, always with any of this text here, feel free to edit it, add more directions for the students. The more directions that you add inside of this template for them, the better it'll be for getting the product that you're looking for. So once again, I have this project, and maybe I have two different projects for Unit 1. So I click here and add two different spaces. So we have it set for Unit 1. Now I'm going to go back over to Pages, and now I want to duplicate this page. So if I kind of hover over Unit 1, it gives me three dots. If I go and click the three dots, I have a series of options here. So now I'm going to click Duplicate Page. I'm going to change the name of it to Unit 2 and press Done. And it says Unit 2 here, but then I have to change the title here. It still says Unit 1. So if I just kind of click in this text box here, I can delete 1 and replace it with 2. And now I have the second page for submitting artifacts. Now at the end of this, if you really want to get fancy, you can have different themes. If you want to play with themes here, you might add some different background images, or you can encourage the students to customize it and add their own flair to this. What I tell the students is that keep the structure the way that I gave it to you, but please feel free to customize it, change the fonts, change the way it, change the colors of the fonts, make it your own, but keep the structure there. So this is all about getting started with Google Sites for the template builder.